Hi there, welcome to part 3 at last. Now let's focus on some really good games, some of the games I think which were responsible for putting Sony on the map as regards consoles and entering them into the war between Sega and Nintendo. Bloody war that is. Right, this is the original Tomb Raider. I know it's not an exclusive to the PlayStation 1, but it's the console I had it on, so forgive me for pointing this out as a game that stood apart, but hey ho, it did. Apart from the dialogue, which is horrible! Yeah, seal it, mate, you're boring me. What, you? What, you wallet, Rumble? That's disgusting! Right, I'm off. And remember, we've better get a move on because the loading times of the PlayStation 1 are slow. So, you get to visit Lara's home first and foremost if you want, and you know, I kind of do want, so let's go and see her house.
I'll take you on a guided tour.
Oh, that's lovely, thank you.
Use the D-pad to go into the music room.
I don't want to go in the music room, actually. I don't have a choice. The graphics are rather clippy and choppy, comparatively speaking, to what we're used to, but it's a game of its time, so bear with it. Lara Croft seems a little bit more angular. Look, her chest is stuck in the wall because it's far too pointy. Stick with a camera angle and we'll stop doing that. Stop it, making me feel sick. Oh, that's one of the problems with this game. The camera angles can't make up their minds. Pick with one and stay with it. And another problem, if you jump too close to something, look, you can't jump up. And it happens later on in the game still, look. See, so you have to back up from it. Why? Flipping out, there's nothing there. God, and I've fallen down the hole anyway. There's nothing like shooting innocent dogs. That's what Lara Croft does best. Shooting canines. No, not really, I'm just pissing around, but yeah, you know what's kind of fun? This is a great game and the first in a great series of Tomb Raider games, so no prizes for guessing. I really like the whole series. Up till the latter day games, which there's a few disappointing ones in between, I've got to say. But the original one I still think stands out. Granted, the graphics don't stand up to next generation consoles, but back then, yeah, it was the bee's knees, and it still looks and plays well nowadays. It's just the camera angles are a bit choppy, and they tend to make you think you're somewhere that you're not. Damn, that is so retarded. See, that's what I mean. The biggest problem with the original Tomb Raider is the angles. They can't seem to stay fixed or focused. It's like the person who's trying to control your view of the game is absolutely pissed out of his skull. He has no idea what you want to see or what you want to do. But, I know, I'm just splitting hairs. Bear with it. And another thing I've got against the game, it's a small thing. You could only save when the save block's there. Not like us wimpy gamers nowadays where you can save whenever you want. You saved when the game said, or you had to start right back where you started. Look at her! Thunder flies! Good God! Look at that brat's head of hers! You know what? We've looked at Tomb Raider enough. Great game, just slightly dated. Let's move on, shall we? Bitches!
Well?
And here we are, Final Fantasy VII. Now this was exclusive at the time for the PlayStation 1, so Saturn owners could only look on in envy. I had to have this game. I heard so much about it. I heard it was one of the best games ever. I saved up for ages. I got myself a copy of this game. I started playing and guess what? I was immediately disappointed by it. Now you're thinking, what's he on about now? He finds fault with everything. No, I don't. See, as you start the game, you don't actually have a great deal to do. It's kind of boring. You have a lot of text to read. Your character has no character. You don't know what's quite going on, and the controls seem a little bit rough to say the least. But as you start persevering with this game, you start naming your lead character, you start meeting new characters, the character is developed, the plot's developed, the personalities come through, you start getting better, you start going up levels, the battles seem to become fun, you start getting more people on your team, and before you know it, you're hooked. This game is a masterpiece. It justifies PlayStation 1's existence, if nothing else. And who can forget this bit of the game? You are quite happily playing along, watching this nice cutscene, thinking, isn't that a nice moment? I'm sure something good will come of it. Maybe Cloud will rescue her where she's kidnapped and stuck at the moment. I'm sure nothing bad's going to happen now. clouds got there. And all of a sudden you're thinking, what's going on now? This doesn't look good. Maybe I should be concerned. Sweet Lord! Well, after you've got over that initial shock, you think you've got a vendetta against Sephiroth now. Now he's going to pay. I'm going to get this guy no matter what it takes. And he adds insult to injury by giving you a smug look. Anyway, as you progress in the game, you can see this was my original team I'm using here to demonstrate the game. The mithril, the different varying attacks. See, look how powerful these are. And you're probably wondering to yourself, he's got Aeris and he's all that way in the game and she dies in the first disc. Well, there was a cheat which I used to bring her back to life. So, no prizes for guessing. She does die. She doesn't come back to play on your team again. But if you do that little cheat, yep, she comes to fight for you again. Not bad, eh? And let's not forget the summonses in this game. I think Knights of the Realm was the most powerful. But, look, to be honest with you, this is a game that stood apart. It's probably the only RPG I've ever got that involved in playing. It's an excellent game. I always say excellent, I'm sorry. I should try to think of a better word to describe something that I think's good. Marvellous, stupendous, one of the best of its kind. Untouchable, unique. I can't think of anything else. It's a great game. You guys have probably all played it, but if you haven't for some reason, go get it and get it now. It's not a game I think I'll ever forget, actually. So, yeah, you gotta check this one out. It doesn't date. There's some really shit games, though, I won't review like this. Air combat, there's only one thing you can do with this piece of shit. And we've got one more. Good God, I hate this game. You know, if I could burn it, I would, but to hell with you. There's also a lot of other games I was thinking about reviewing, like X-Men Mutant Academy or X-Men Mutant Academy 2, but you know what, I could be here all day. There's varying amounts of beat-em-ups on this console, this one being one of the better looking of the lot, but to be honest with you, a beat-em-up's a beat-em-up, 3D or 2D, what a tart! Less said about her, the better. Good grief! Rebel Assault 2, about 1,000,000 times better than Rebel Assault 1. So I'm quite happy with it. You get lots of cutscenes with this crap acting, look. Oh, he could be pregnant with Wolf, sir. And the Darth Vader voice is shit. But the actual game is great. A lot of my friends had this on the PC. I didn't. I only had this PlayStation 1 variant of it. And they say they can't play the PlayStation 1 version, where I can't play the PC version. So you know what? Go figure. It doesn't alter the fact it's a great game. It's quite fun, actually. I'd like to do a full review of this sometime, but for the meantime, just put it down as one of the games I really like on the PlayStation 1. There's so many missions and so many things to do on it. It's just entertaining, and dare I say it, it's fun! Well, that concludes my look at games, so where does it leave us? The Sony PlayStation 1 was an excellent console. Originally supposed to be a add-on for the Super Nintendo as a CD drive. Think of it like the Mega CD, but the contract fell through because I think Sony, in the contract, owned most of the rights to Nintendo's games or something along those lines. Needless to say, Nintendo didn't like it, so they pulled out. So Sony thought, you know what, screw you Nintendo, we'll go on a head-on, one-on-one contest with you. And guess what? They did pretty well. They literally butchered Sega to death and pretty much revolutionised the gaming market. I think it allowed spaces for stuff like the Xbox and the Xbox 360. We have a lot to be thankful for to Sony, actually. The console lived up to the reputation. It was very well developed, not overshadowed. It was a great console. I think it rivaled the Mega Drive in popularity. The console went so well that they even produced a smaller slimline version called the, I think it was a PSX. So much was its selling point. I've got nothing negative to say about the PlayStation 1 other than the fact is the original variants of the console were prone to overheating and lenses slipping and dropping. Other than that, it's a great console. The last of its kind as far as I'm concerned, and I've got no more to say on the console other than the fact is it was really good.